Thanks for watching Lessons in Minutes with Jaylee. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.
Let us continue to look at the concept of the correction of errors, which is a part of the control system. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to demonstrate how to correct errors that do not affect the trial balance. And we'll be looking at a worked example. The question reads, Browns Limited has discovered the following errors at the end of the month. You're required to prepare journal entries to correct the errors found in Browns Limited's book. And we're going to look at the first one. No entry was made for a computer worth 50,000 bought by check for business use. No entry was made for a computer worth 50,000 bought by check for business use. So basically, by looking at this transaction, we know that that's an error of omission. Once there's an error of omission, to correct this, all you would need to do is to apply the normal rules, meaning the normal double entry rule. The computer was purchased. So therefore, there's an increase in the asset computer. So therefore, we're going to debit that item. So the item to be debited is computer. And the value is $50,000. This was purchased by check. There's a reduction in the value in our bank account. So therefore, our bank account should be credited. So remember, in order for you to correct errors, you have to know your double entry rule. Now, based on this error that you have corrected, normally when you're doing the journal, you would prepare what is called narration, which is a description of the entry that was made in the journal. So what can we write as the narrative for this correction that was made? And it is just simple correction of error of omission. Okay, now we're going to look at the number 2. So number 2, and for number 2, goods purchased from S. White on credit, 10,000 was entered in T. White's account. Now, what we're seeing is that what was done is that the entry that should have been in S. White account was entered in T. White's account in error. These two persons are from the same class of account, right? And so therefore, it is an error of commission. So remember, once it's the same class of account, then it is error of commission. Wrong account, same class, error of commission. What are we going to do to correct this? If we have purchased goods from S. White, it means that S. White's account should have been credited, but instead of crediting S. White, they have credited T. White's account. So to get rid of the entry out of T. White's account, we're going to debit T. White, and we're going to credit S. White. So that's T. White 10,000 and S. White. Remember, you're to indent your credit item. S. White is credited with $10,000. Now, what is the narration for that? Simple. Correction of error of commission. If you don't remember the type of error, all you can write for your narration is correction of entry made in T. White's instead of S. White's account. Okay? Now we're going to look at the third item there, the third error, and it reads building repairs 18,000 was entered in the building account in error. Now we're seeing where the wrong account was used, different class, so therefore it is error of principle. How do we go about correcting this? All we have to do is to get rid of the entry that was placed in the building account and put the correct entry in the building repairs account. Based on the entry that was made, building account was debited in error, so we'll have to credit that. The building repairs, because we have done repairs to the building, that would have been an increase in the expense of building repairs. So therefore, our building repairs account is debited with the value of 18,000, and our building account, we're getting rid of that entry. So we're crediting that in order to cancel out the incorrect entry that was placed on the debit side. And what is the narration? Simply correction of error of principle. Now we're going to look at number 4. And number 4 reads, a sales invoice sent to Shay for 3,000 was entered in the sales journal as 300. So we're seeing where something is wrong with the figure. They have entered less than the amount. And because something is wrong with the figure, we know there and then that is an error of original entry. The sales invoice sent to Shay is basically indicating to us that goods were sold on credit to Shay, valued 3,000, but it was entered as 300. Once goods are sold, the double entry for that is that you would debit your debtors and credit your sales account once it is sold on credit. So Shay's account should be debited and the sales account should be credited. No, but they have put 300, so it means that it was undercast. In correcting an undercast, it means that you have to find the difference between the two figures. 3,000 minus 300 give us 2,700. Once you find the difference, you're going to enter that difference on the same side, original side that the entry was placed on in order to increase the value. Sales account was debited and the sales account was credited. So that 2,700 would be debited to Shay's account and credited to the sales account. So we're going to debit Shay with 2,700. Remember, once there is something wrong with the figure, you have to find the difference between the two figures. And we're going to credit the sales account with the difference of 2,700. Remember, once it is undercast, the difference is placed on the same side where the original entry was placed. What is the narration for that? Simply, correction of error of original entry. What if you don't remember the type of error? All you can write is correction of undercast entries in the account. Okay? Now, we're going to look at the 5th one. Payment of 5,000 cash to S. White was debited to cash account and credited to S. White account in error. So the business is making a payment. The cash account should have been credited because there's a reduction in the cash, and the creditor S. White that we're paying, because there's a reduction, we should have debited the account. But in error, the cash account is debited and S. White account is credited. So there is a reversal of entry. What do we do in correcting reversal of entry? All we need to do, place the entry on the opposite side and double the amount. So we need to reverse that entry and double the amount. So the account to be debited would be S. White, and that amount is 10,000, because remember you have to double the amount, and the account to be credited is our cash account because there's a reduction, but we have to double the amount. In doubling the amount, all you're doing is canceling out that 5,000 that was placed on the incorrect side. And once you cancel that 5,000, you would have the correct value of 5,000 recorded in the accounts. We're going to look at the narration. What is the narration for that? Simply correction of reversal of entry. Okay, and we're going to look at the final one, which is number 6. Discount allowed and discount received accounts were both posted with 2,000 too much. So these accounts were overstated. They were overcast by 2,000. In correcting an overcast, you have to put that overcast value, that extra value, on the opposite side of the original entry. And in looking at the number 6, discount allowed and discount received, to correct this, you'd have to know what type of balance these accounts carry. Discount allowed is an expense, that is a debit balance. Discount received is a revenue, that is a credit balance. We need to get rid of the extra. So what we're going to do is to debit or discount received account with the extra 2,000 because we want to get rid of that extra that is on the credit side. So we're debiting. And we're going to credit our discount allowed account because we're getting rid of that extra value that is placed on the debit side, that overcast value that is placed on the debit side with 2,000. And what is our narrative for that? Simply, our narrative is correction of compensatory error. Why is it compensatory? The extra value placed on the debit of the discount allowed compensate for that very same extra value that is placed on the credit side of the discount receive account. So therefore, the error compensate, each error compensate for each other. Okay, so that takes us into the end of looking at a work example of correcting the 6 types of errors that do not affect the trial balance.
Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.